I always like to take a moment and just tell you guys that I appreciate you guys for listening. I've been doing this show for 13, I think going on 14 years now. And I just appreciate all of you that reach out, that I can help with whatever the situation might be. Of course, if it's a transaction, we'd love the opportunity to earn your business. But we get just as many, if not more, calls with folks that just have common questions or need a referral for somebody to do some work to their house. Whatever we can do to help, we're here to help. My number is 843-800-0065. You can call or text that number. I'll be the one to answer it, 843-800-0065. Or our website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Also, check us out on YouTube and, of course, our podcast on iTunes and Spotify and Google Play and all that great stuff. But let's talk now about, so we've talked about the idea that it's incredibly important, especially in this specific time, for you to get it right when you list your home for sale. And I know there are so many people out there that have friends or family members that are in the business, and that can be a very awkward conversation to tell them that, like, hey, I know that we're friends, but it's better to stay friends than attempt for you to sell my high-end home, or it doesn't have to be a high-end home, but just my home. Sometimes, and you might know this very well, just based on your personal relationship with that person, that they're great friends, but they might not be great real estate agents. And at the end of the day, what you owe yourself is the best opportunity to keep and make as much money as you can when you sell your house. So if you want me to be the person that you choose without having to compete between friends, I'm happy to fill that gap. But anyways, you guys know how to reach me, 843-800-0065, if that really is a thing. But let's talk about the 7 warning signs that your home is about to sit on the market, right? Because we've talked about the fact that right now, 1 in 3 homes that are listing for sale are not selling. They're getting pulled off the market. They're failing to sell. They're firing their agents. They're deciding it's not the right time. They're deciding they can't get their price and they're just going to give up. Maybe they rent their home. Whatever the case might be, the worst thing that can happen to your home is not necessarily getting a low offer, or it's not negotiating repairs. It's your home sitting on the market week after week with no offers. Because the longer a home sits, the more buyers to ask the same questions, right? What's wrong with it? So I want to share, 7 warning signs that your home is about to sit on the market. And if you're thinking about selling in Charleston this year, these are the exact things that you want to avoid, right? So the first warning sign is that the price is based on what the seller wants or needs, right? One of the biggest warning signs is when the listing is based on emotion instead of data, right? Sellers will say something like, we need to get at least this much, or, my neighbor sold for that price last year. But let's be honest, buyers, they don't care about what a seller needs. They care about today's market. And in today's market, buyers are comparing almost every listing instantly. Even if the price is 5% too high, a lot of those buyers won't schedule a showing. They'll just scroll right past it. The second is that the photos just don't make the buyers stop scrolling, right? Buyers today decide whether or not they want to see a home in about 4 seconds. That decision happens online. So if the listing photos are dark and poorly framed and cluttered, or taken on a phone, or you've got like the first 4 pictures of the listing are just like different angles of the front of the house, you have to understand the way people search for real estate. You have to understand what they see on these various websites as they're comparing property to property, right? Usually most websites will give you like the first 4 photos, and then you have to click on more to figure out what's actually going on inside. So the first 4 photos shouldn't be just the same picture from a slightly different angle. It should pull them in, right? Maybe, of course, the first photo is the front of the house, but maybe the next one is your awesome kitchen that you just remodeled. And then the third one is your master bathroom, which looks beautiful. And maybe the fourth is a view of your backyard that's on the marsh or on the water. Or you find some feature of your home that's impressive and you feature that, right? The first showing your home gets is when people view it online. So professional photography is not a luxury anymore. It's a requirement. And of course, we offer that on every listing. I would say the third is that the first week, the first 10 days, you have very few to 0 showings. This is one of the biggest signals that agents can watch. And so when I meet with a seller and we talk about putting their home on the market, One thing that we do have access to is, well, we use a third-party company, all real estate agents do in Charleston, called Showing Time. So basically, if I was a real estate agent showing buyers a property this weekend, I would go in the MLS and I'd select the 3 or 4 or 5 homes that I'd want to see. And then Showing Time, the third-party company, would do all the communicating between the listing agents and the sellers to coordinate my schedule, right? So it's a scheduling service. The great thing about that is that they track and collect data that I can then use to my seller's advantage. So I can say, hey, in this area, in this price range in the past 30, 60, 90 days, here's what the average number of showings looks like. This is our benchmark, right? This is our sweet spot. If we're at or above that, we're in great shape. If we're significantly below that, we might have to discuss a change in our strategy. So if the home launches and showings are slow, or buyers are canceling appointments, or the feedback is really vague, and you're consistently like, yeah, it's like top 5, it's not top 2, well, then usually what happens is you are actually becoming a listing that's helping other listings sell faster. You're helping your competition because they look better, they're positioned better. It's usually a signal, obviously, that something isn't resonating with the market. And most of the time, the cause is either price or presentation. I'll tell you another warning sign, just really quickly. The home looks too personalized, right? And I think this one surprises a lot of sellers. And I know that everybody immediately goes to, oh yeah, the family photos, we got to take those down. I can't remember a time where, someone having a photo of their grandson on their nightstand prevented that home from selling. Now, if you have a shrine in your family room dedicated to every member of your family tree, and it's the focal point of the family room, yeah, that's a problem. But, the idea is that buyers need to be able to picture themselves living in the house. If every wall has bold colors and the decor is extremely specific, then buyers are going to start focusing on what they need to change. And the more changes buyers imagine, the less they are willing to pay, because it becomes a to-do list for them. The fifth thing is that the listing description is just weak. You'd be shocked at how many listings have descriptions like this: beautiful home in great neighborhood, won't last long. That tells the buyer literally nothing, right? A great listing description should sell the lifestyle and the location and the upgrades and the unique features and the amenities, the conveniences of living in that area. Or maybe if it's like a rural property, the exact opposite, the privacy, the distance from neighbors, right? That's probably what somebody like that's looking for. So lean into that. The goal is to help buyers emotionally connect with the home before they walk through the door. That's the whole goal, right? Warning sign number 6, the home has too much competition. Sometimes the issue isn't the house, it's the timing, right? And if we've got 5 very similar homes on the market at the same time in the same neighborhood, buyers suddenly have options. And when buyers have options, the best price and the best presented home wins. And they use that as leverage, right? They'll say, well, if you don't like my offer, I'll go to the one down the street. And the others often sit. And that's happening more and more as we're seeing properties sit on the market for longer and we're seeing inventory start to go up. And then the last major warning sign is that the marketing strategy, again, it's passive, right? This is one of the biggest mistakes that sellers don't realize is happening. Some listings just rely entirely on the MLS. Yeah, maybe they put like a hey, look at me type post on their Facebook page, but it's to all their random friends or people they think are friends. They're not actual buyers for your house. So it's more just like yeah, I got another listing. Look at me, double bicep flex emoji. I'm awesome. Just like every other real estate agent's social media account out there. And don't get me started on that soapbox. Holy cow. But I think today's buyers come from everywhere, right? Social media, targeted digital ads, relocation networks, investor databases, agent networks. I mean, if a listing isn't actively being promoted, the buyer pool becomes smaller, and fewer buyers means fewer offers. Our goal in marketing your property is to educate and inform people about that property and why it's so great in such a way that we create urgency and fear of loss. I want people looking at my listings and saying, wow, if I don't do something about that, someone else will. And there are tons of strategies that we have created over the years to take advantage of and almost manipulate that interest A lot of it has to do with timing. It all has to do with strategy. So what's the takeaway from all this, right? Homes don't sit on the market because the market's broken. They sit because something about the listing isn't aligned with what buyers expect. And so when price and presentation and marketing all work together, homes still sell very quickly. Remember, 1 in 3 properties don't sell, but the remaining 2/3, half of them sell for full price in a week, and the other half sell in like 3 months for 90-ish% of their asking price. It all has to do with strategy. So if you're thinking about selling your home this year, the smartest thing that you can do is figure out how buyers will see your home before you list it. Because once a home hits the market, the clock starts ticking, right? So if you'd like to know where buyers kind of are in this market, what their expectations are, then you would want to talk to a real estate agent that's doing a lot of transactions and that understands how to pull those people in, not just because they understand the buyer psychology and the process they go through mentally and emotionally when they're searching for a home, but you also need an agent that has the tools and the ability and the manpower and the financial ability to really market your home better than other real estate agents, to give you an unfair marketing advantage. And that's exactly what I'd love to do for you guys if you're open to it. Feel free to reach out to me, call or text me. My number is 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. Or check out our website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. And remember to check us out on YouTube. Just search the Brian Beatty Team. And you can check out our podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Brian Beatty Team.